Hello, welcome. This is both my first video in general and my first video for Warcaster. You can expect a bit other type of content from this channel as well, probably some Age of Sigmar, potentially some Infinity. But we're going to get started with this Warcaster unboxing. I have, just came in yesterday, our starter group for Marcher Worlds. And I have a few other additions here, the Ranger Heavy Support and the Combat Engineer. We're going to take a look at what we got inside, and we'll take a quick dive into any potential changes from the playtest rules. I know a lot of people have questions about that lately, so we'll see what we've got here. So let's open up the main box. As you can see, there's a lot of jumble in here. They switched packaging, so these new environmentally friendly packages. A lot of people call them egg roll, for those of you familiar. We've got a few different items in here, so let's take a look. Looks like we've got, these are our void gates. This is the Weaver. This, of course, is the Dusk Wolf. Looks like this is one of the hunters. The Ranger team here, and one of the other hunters. Looks like we have a few loose bases escaped from their respective egg roll packagings in here as well. And we have a whole bunch of cards. We'll take a look at those individually in a second. Have the rulebook. Rulebook's been online for about a week or so now. Having the print version is always handy, but it is a nice little rulebook. Let's see, let us get to the last bit, which is the token sheet. Got a bunch of different tokens here for activation tokens, your void gates, your objectives, your pulse tracker. So let's open up some of these models. Let's start with the big guy. Let's see what the Dusk Wolf has to show for us. A lot of people have been saying they've been having issues with these packaging. It seems like it's relatively easy to open. But let's take a look on the inside here. Got everything here. Let's splay it out. Got a number of different pieces here. We've got a torso piece here. We have a left leg, right arm, left arm here. And all of the different weapon options. You've got your close combat weapon, flamethrower, railgun, always a popular option, the missile pod, two different Cortex options, and of course the little battle rifle. I know a lot of people are worried about the sculpts on these, but it is actually very, very crisp for Privateer press quality minis, especially their metals. I actually can't see any mold lines to speak of on this. A little bit in the joint where it doesn't matter, but these are actually very, very high quality metal minis. I know everyone is a little bit more preference towards the hard plastics that you might see out of like Games Workshop, but for metal miniatures, these seem to be probably top tier. Almost rivaling the stuff you see out of like Corvus Belli and their Infinity sculpts, which are, as a lot of people know, they're very, very crisp. But these, I don't see any mold lines or any defects on any of these actually, which is almost very surprising for me. But this is what Dusk Wolf looks like. All the pieces are here. Not worried about any mispacks at this stage. Let's take a little zoom in so you can see. Let's take a look. You can see what I mean by this is like normally you might see like some mold lines, a bit of flash. I really am not seeing any of that on any of these miniatures or this far. Let's take a look at a different one here. Let's open up the fire team. Okay, so we have our three fire team members here. We have the three bodies. We have a bunch of backpacks. Let's take them to the side. This one is attached to one of the rifles. Got the bases. Again, let's take a look. So you can see, very crisp sculpts. As we can see here, only bit of flash in this model is coming off the like little base stud at the bottom. comes off real quick. Otherwise, very clean, very crisp. That's here. All pieces accounted for. No missed packs yet. Let's take a look. Open up the next one. It looks like this one is the standard sculpt for the Hunter solo. Let's take a look. As you can see here. Again, very clean. No warping, no flash. Very clean. A little bit of flash on here, but not particularly anything you can see here. And again, no mold lines I can see, which is really what you'd be more worried about on the metal miniatures, given that, you know, I could mar a whole miniature with a pretty bad mold line. Next one coming up is, this is the variant for the Hunter. As you can see there. Again, very crisp. Kind of a static pose, but for PP's first really re-entry to metal in a while, instead of their specific plastic that they use, very good quality. This one. This is the standard sculpt for the Coalition Weaver. Now, Facebook is to be believed. This is the one where the most missed packs have been happening. A lot of people are missing their backpack, but I can see here that I am lucky enough not to have that issue. Again, we can see up close. Very crisp, very crisp. First bit of real flash on a miniature right here at the end of its fist, but that's an easy fix to cover up right there. And a bit more at the bottom here where its foot is. But again, not in any particular places. The backpack. This is the oft missing backpack piece I know a number of you are dealing with at this time. But it's Privateer Press. They have very good support. Visit their webpage or message them on Kickstarter. They will be able to get you your pieces very quickly. Staff. Running ahead, let's take a look. The last should be the Void Gate here. Here's I got some extra bases. I wonder what that's about. These were the Kickstarter Void Gates. I am not certain if these will be offered at retail, but in the starter box normally would just be these tokens you would count as your Void Gates. But Kickstarter backers got these metal sculpts. They look very nice actually. Nice little bit of swirl of energy inside. These are actually the first ones, the first miniatures that I can see of the entire pack that have a bit of a noticeable mold line, but it is around the outside edge of the little warp gate here, and it's really not that bad. The outside and the inside have a bit of a noticeable mold line. But it's really not that bad, and probably be covered up by a decent paint job. There's a bit of flash on this one as well. So the Void Gates, pretty decently. This is the first bit of miniatures that had any sort of real flash or mold lines. Everything else extremely crisp, extremely high quality miniatures. Let's take a look at the cards. Now, I know there's a few types of cards here. There's both the lore cards, as you can see here. These are cards that serve as both like the barcode scan for the miniatures when it's on like the store shelves, and also serve as like the packaging front. You can see it here as well in the Combat Engineer solo. They are using these as like part of their no waste packaging. They contain both a little image of said miniature, and also a bit of lore on the miniature. Coalition Weaver, Dusk Wolf Weapon Pack, the Hunter. I noticed they put the Hunter variant here. I wonder if they have a different bit of fluff for the Hunter and the Hunter variant. These are your standard laminated cards. If you're familiar with any of Privateer Press's miniature cards, it's the same quality stuff. Let's take a look over here. These, a few more actually. We have one for the Void Gates. This one would be exclusive to the Void Gates miniatures. We also have these, which are, if you're into the lore, these are lore cards that were specific for the Kickstarter backers. They come with this nice little bit of art for each one. A lot of the art you can see in the rulebook, and also there is this very handy reference card to go over how turn order works, and these are very useful. A lot of games I've had to play in the past, like Guild Ball, we've had to make our own reference cards. The fact that we have one coming in the starter box, very, very useful. And finally we have the unit stat cards. Now I know a number of people were surprised with these because these are Kickstarter exclusive cards because they are foil cards. As you can see, by foil, people maybe thought you'd get like a magic card where the whole thing was foil, but for this specifically, it's the lettering at the top. It's a nice little gold foil. The difference here though is it is not a laminate card. It's a very nice cardstock, very heavy, very quality cardstock, but it is not laminated. So you're going to want to get sleeves on these things. So otherwise though, it is very nice. Looks like the Hunter just gave you 2 regular Hunter cards. I looked through the playtest rules in preparation for this. It doesn't look like there were very many changes, if at all, at least for the Marchers side of things. I know it's really just range 2 for the Jack's melee weapons. It really got changed since the playtest rules for the cards. See the Ripper here, range 2, POW 4. In the backs, you can see more rules for every specific thing, or if it doesn't need a back, it just has the Marcher symbol, which is nice. Came with dice. If those are familiar with Montauk or Riot Quest, it's a very similar strike dice, and the one little black dice, which they must have ordered like hundreds of thousands of. They've had a little black D6 in every starter since the very beginning. Only use this for the roll-off at the beginning of the game so far, so it might be a little superfluous, but it comes with the pack of strike dice. I do recommend, if you didn't pick it up with the Kickstarter, you're probably going to want another batch of these. If you've got 2 starters, you'd probably be set, or if you played either Riot Quest or Montauk, you'd be set in general. But you're probably going to want a bit more dice to go around with, because there are a lot of things, you you lose them, but a few things require a bit more than what they currently have. Now, the last thing, and what I know a lot of people are very interested in, are the spell cards. We'll open up this spell deck. So, we've got our deck of spell cards, or cipher cards, as the game calls it. We're going to go through these. I am going to pull up the playtest rules just so we can confirm that everything is the same as it was during playtest. I am fairly certain it was, but just to be certain of it, let's take a look at the same time. Play your spells. There are 4 types of spells, as you can see in the deck. You've got these blue, these are overdrives, they target jacks. The red ones are Furies. They're like ranged attacks. They target offensive spells. Force Barrier is one of a Geometrics. Geometrics are orange. They target squads. And then purple is Harmonics, and they target either solos or just units in general. So let's take a look through them real quick, just so everyone has a chance to see. It looks like everything is the same from the playtest rules. Got Interdiction Protocol, Momentum Calibrator. This one's the same too. Kinetic Accelerator, this one is also the same. Annihilation Vector, this one is also the same. Impulse Inducer, this one also the same. Ascension Catalysts, this one also the same. And that was all of our overdrives. And now we're going to move on to the Furies. Cryolock, no changes right there. Velocity Projector, no changes there either. Pyrokinetic Surge, no changes there either. Null Collider, Malediction Rubric, Instability Equation. Those are all of the Furies, and no changes there from the playtest cipher deck. Let's move on to the Geometrics. Force Barrier, Temporal Cycle, Mortality Stabilizer, Reiteration Complex. Plexus Densify. I don't know what it is about this spell name, but I love this spell name. I just think it sounds weird. Plexus Densifier. Still the same. We have the last one, Displacement Index. Very useful one. Also the same as the playtest docs. And the last set of spells, Divination Algorithm. The harmonics. Yep, this one's the same. Arcane Synthesis. Encrypted Command. Recall Initiative, very useful spell. Recalling a unit, also the same. Aggression Theorem. And Revelation Matrix. And there's all of the Cipher cards. Again, these are actually on your standard PP card quality. They don't seem as laminated, I don't think, no. But they're also very high quality cards. You can go without sleeving them. I will probably sleeve mine just for benefit of keeping it all safe together. Let's take a look at the tokens themselves for the last bit. This is the token sheet. Very high quality. Let's take a look at the Void Gate. Let's see how that works. Looks like it's a little standee insert. Works well enough. I wonder if... I suspect that these two rogue bases that we were missing earlier are in fact for the Void Gates. So, just a little pro tip, haven't seen this yet before, but these little standees that you're seeing here, they are not 30mm base size. So the two loose bases that were in the starter, I suspect you are to either place or to glue your Void Gates onto, so they could be the full size 30mm base Void Gates. Because the Void Gate miniatures came with their own. Of course, the miniatures are going to be nicer and higher quality, but these are very sufficient for the job. I imagine there will be third-party Void Gates made at some point in the future from your choice of acrylic game accessory manufacturers. Other tokens in the sheet, these are the objectives. They're used in a number of different objectives in the game. We have our fire tokens, corrosion, lockdown. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All very high quality tokens. And I think that covers everything from the starter set. Let's take a quick look, just to confirm how it looks over here with the Combat Engineer Solo. So this is what you'll see a lot of the things come in the retail packaging. It's the new blister. Just for comparison's sake, I have over here from their online store the alternate sculpt for the Coalition Weaver. So you can see their old clamshell packaging, which I'm sure everyone has seen with. They have gone with the new, more recycle-friendly packaging for their products going forward. So you can expect to see this rolled out to probably Monpoc, RyQuest, and even War Machine in the fall. Inside the box. Lore card for the Combat Engineer. It comes in this little box, which reveals more egg roll packaging. And the card in here, and I believe the card in for anything you got on the Kickstarter is, of course, the foil card. High quality cardstock, but you're going to want to get these into sleeves just to fully protect them. This is everyone's favorite thick boy engineer. He has a very wide miniature, as you can see. This one has a bit more flash than the starter boxes. Let's take a look here. This is a little bit of flash points, nothing particular, and still no real mold lines to speak of, other than here at the bottom of the foot. But you know, for miniatures, that's pretty good quality. This very big wrench. It wouldn't be a privateer press game without a very, very big wrench. Pistol. Very good. He is on a 40mm base compared to most of the game. There's not that many 40mm base items. Let's open up the last distinct bit of sculpts in this wave 1. Our Ranger Heavy Support. Take it up. Neat little lore card. let's take a look at these sculpts. Little bazooka men. They are just as crisp as all the other ones. Three backpacks, 3 units. And just as before, no real source of mold lines, no real bits of flash. Only real bits of flash in these models are again on the little base inserts. Everything is extremely crisp and clean. So that is all the distinct miniatures for Wave 1. We have Wave 2 coming in a month or so, which will contain the variant Dusk Wolves, the Heavy Jacks, and all of the heroes. But it looks like we have a nice little start to Warcaster. I will be doing a bit more Warcaster concepts. You'll see some painting from me and some battle reports in the near future. But that's it for today. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Is that a thing? We're gonna like and subscribe here?